most disastrous plane crashes in history, and what went wrong. Airplanes. For most of us, they're just a way to get from point A to point B. But in rare and tragic cases, a flight becomes something far worse. A disaster that leaves behind twisted metal, unanswered questions, and grieving families. In this video, we're diving into 10 of the most disastrous airplane crashes the world has ever seen. These aren't just numbers. Every one of these stories changed aviation forever. So sit tight. No fluff, no sugarcoating. Just the real, raw stories of what went wrong and what it cost. Number 10, American Airlines Flight 191 Chicago, 1979. 273 people died, no survivors. This was the deadliest aviation accident in U.S. history, and it happened in just seconds. Flight 191, a McDonnell Douglas DC-10, was taking off from Chicago O'Hare Airport. As it lifted off, the left engine completely separated from the wing. It didn't just fall off, it ripped away and flipped over the top of the wing, damaging critical hydraulic systems in the process. The pilots had no chance. The plane rolled left, flipped nearly upside down, and crashed into an open field near the runway, killing everyone on board and 2 people on the ground. The cause? A flawed maintenance procedure. Mechanics used a forklift to remove the engine and pylon as a single unit, a shortcut that had cracked the mounting flange. This crash forced the FAA and airlines to overhaul engine maintenance procedures and triggered the temporary grounding of all DC-10s. Number 9. Mid-air collision over India Charkhi-Dadri, 1996. 349 people killed. This tragedy happened in clear skies. A Saudi Arabian Airlines Boeing 747 was climbing after takeoff from Delhi. At the same time, a Kazakhstan Airlines Aviation IL-76 cargo jet was descending into the same airspace. They were on a collision course. Due to poor English and misunderstanding of altitude instructions, the Kazakh pilot descended below his assigned altitude. By the time the radar operator realized what was happening, it was too late. The 2 planes collided in mid-air, disintegrating instantly. Bodies and debris rained down over the small town of Charkhi-Dadri. After this, India made traffic collision avoidance systems, TCAS, mandatory in all commercial aircraft, a move that's credited with preventing countless collisions worldwide since. Number 8. Air India Flight 855 Mumbai, 1978. 213 people dead. Just minutes after takeoff from Mumbai on New Year's Day, this Boeing 747 banked sharply and plunged into the Arabian Sea. The wreckage was found scattered across the water. The investigation revealed that one of the instruments giving the pilot his roll information, basically telling him if the plane is level, was faulty. But he trusted it completely. As the plane began to roll to the left, the co-pilot and flight engineer noticed the discrepancy and tried to warn him. But by the time they did, the plane had entered a sharp bank and lost lift. The tragic irony? Had the pilot trusted the crew or cross-checked other instruments, this crash could have been avoided. Number 7. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH17 Ukraine, 2014. 298 people dead. This flight was cruising at 33,000 feet when it was suddenly blown apart in midair. Investigators quickly determined it was shot down by a surface-to-air missile over a war zone in eastern Ukraine. The missile was identified as a Russian-made Buk system, fired from territory held by pro-Russian separatists. The impact tore the plane apart. Bodies, luggage, and debris fell across farmland for miles. Most of the passengers were Dutch tourists on their way to a vacation in Asia. There were no survivors. The event sparked international outrage and led to more restrictions on flying over conflict zones. Number 6. Iran Air Flight 655 Persian Gulf, 1988. 290 people dead. This one is still deeply controversial. Iran Air 655 was flying a routine route from Iran to Dubai when it was shot down by the USS Vincennes, a U.S. Navy cruiser. The ship mistook the Airbus A300 for an attacking military aircraft. It fired 2 surface-to-air missiles. The plane disintegrated mid-air. Everyone on board, including 66 children, died. The U.S. claimed it was a tragic case of mistaken identity. Iran accused the U.S. of a deliberate act. The event still strains U.S.-Iran relations decades later. In 1996, the U.S. agreed to pay $61.8 million in compensation to the victims' families, but never formally apologized. Number 5. Japan Airlines Flight 123, Gunma Prefecture, 1985. 520 people dead. Only 4 survived. This is the deadliest single aircraft crash in aviation history. Flight 123 was a Boeing 747 en route from Tokyo to Osaka. 12 minutes after takeoff, the rear pressure bulkhead failed due to a faulty repair done years earlier. That explosion destroyed the plane's hydraulic systems, meaning the pilots had no way to steer or control the aircraft. Amazingly, they kept it in the air for another 32 minutes, attempting to return to the airport. The plane eventually crashed into Mount Takamagara. Most of the passengers survived the initial impact, but were trapped in a remote area. Delays in rescue efforts meant many died waiting for help. Letters and voice recordings from passengers were later recovered, and they're absolutely heartbreaking. Number 4. Turkish Airlines Flight 981 Ermenonville Forest, France, 1974. 346 people killed. This crash was due to a simple mechanical flaw, one that had already been reported by engineers, but not fixed. The cargo door of this McDonnell Douglas DC-10 blew off mid-flight. The sudden decompression collapsed the cabin floor above, severing the control cables. The pilots completely lost control. The plane went into a steep dive and smashed into a forest at full speed. There were no survivors. The impact was so violent that bodies were found in trees. Afterward, the cargo door design was changed on all DC-10s, and the manufacturer was heavily criticized for ignoring earlier warnings. Number 3. Saudi Flight 163 Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, 1980. 301 people dead, even though the plane landed. This one is brutal. A fire broke out in the cargo hold shortly after takeoff. The pilots returned to the airport and made a safe landing. But here's the part that doesn't make sense. After landing, they taxied the plane for 3 more minutes, then shut down the engines, but never opened the doors or evacuated anyone. By the time rescuers reached the aircraft, smoke had completely filled the cabin. Everyone on board had died of smoke inhalation. The reason? Poor emergency training and unclear procedures. It changed how flight crews handle fires and how fast they're expected to evacuate. Number 2. Tenerife Airport Disaster, Canary Islands, 1977. 583 people killed. This wasn't a mid-air crash. It happened on the ground. 2 Boeing 747s, one from Pan Am, one from KLM, were on a foggy runway. Due to a bomb threat at another airport, multiple flights had been rerouted to Tenerife, causing major congestion. In the thick fog, the KLM pilot thought he had clearance for takeoff. He didn't. The Pan Am flight was taxiing on the same runway. They collided at full speed. The KLM jet took off, but only for a second. It slammed into the other 747, and both planes exploded. It's the deadliest aviation accident in history, and it led to major improvements in cockpit communication and air traffic control. Number 1. 9/11 attacks USA, 2001. 2,996 people dead. For planes. For hijackings. 2 hit the World Trade Center in New York. 1 slammed into the Pentagon. The 4th crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers fought back. It was the single deadliest day in aviation and modern history. The attacks didn't just take lives. They reshaped global politics, started wars, and changed how we fly forever. After September 11th, airport security was completely overhauled. Cockpit doors were reinforced. Surveillance increased. It was the day the world realized just how vulnerable air travel and everyday life could be. Every single crash on this list wasn't just a disaster. It was a wake-up call. Thousands of lives were lost. But aviation learned from every one of these tragedies. Stronger planes, better systems, safer skies. Still, behind all the technical reports and flight numbers, there were families. People who never made it home. If this video meant something to you, consider giving it a like and subscribing. Let us know in the comments which story hit you the hardest. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.